Wow. Can't you guys believe that it has already been 5 years since the pandemic started? It's already been half a decade since the pandemic happened. I still remember on March 13th, 2020, that was the last day of physical school, the last day before we all ended up quarantined. I don't know about in your guys' area, but for me, it was the last day of physical school before we all ended up quarantined. The pandemic has caused a lot of stores to be closed. And from what I heard, it also caused concerts to be canceled. It was very tough. The pandemic was very tough. It made half of the people go insane, while the other half just ends up feeling lonely. And the other half just ends up feeling really bored, having nothing to do. And they wanted to go out so bad. And yeah, like I said a couple seconds ago, it's tough. And I remember when my junior year started, I went to virtual school. Half of the students chose to go to physical school in the 2020-2021 school year during the pandemic, while the other half, myself included, chose to go to virtual school. I mean, yeah, virtual school can be pretty relaxing, but at the same time, I started to miss seeing my IRL friends in real life. And yeah. The only times I went to physical school on my junior year in the 2020-2021 school year is when I had to take a test, and also that one time when I had a junior ring ceremony when I was a junior, like that junior ring ceremony back in April 2021. Except the junior ring ceremony for the class of 2022 was by car, since that was when the cases were still high. We were quarantined for a year, but then on August 2021, all of us started going to physical school again, but with masks. And that was when I get to reunite with my IRL friends again. And yeah, it was awesome just finally going physically again after a year. Especially since the COVID cases have cooled down a bit. I still remember everywhere we go, we would always have to wear masks and do social distancing back in 2020 because the cases were just so high and the vaccines weren't even around at the time. I was never vaccinated though, and I never got COVID. Thank God. Thank the Lord I never got COVID, but yeah. And I believe the vaccines were made sometime around early 2021 or something. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And there are people that died of COVID. At the time, there wasn't a cure for COVID, but then in mid or late 2020 there has been a cure for COVID. Correct me if I'm wrong on what part of 2020 the cure for COVID came. And I would wear a mask everywhere I go from and when I go to physical school, I would wear a mask from August 2021 all the way until I'd say February or March of 2022. That's when I stopped wearing masks. Either between February and April 2022, that's when I stopped wearing masks completely whenever I go out in public. That's when I stopped wearing masks completely because the cases have cooled down. And it seemed in 2022 that everything went back to the way they were before. God damn, the pandemic was horrible. That was actually horrible. And to even think that it already has been 5 years since the pandemic has happened is just wild to me. Only 5 years left, and it's gonna be a full decade since the pandemic happened. It's just. Time flies, honestly, bro. Time flies. And to anyone that had COVID in the past, I'm sorry you had to go through that. I actually remember back in, I think sometime around January or February 2020, I heard that COVID might end up coming to the United States and possibly all around the world, and it did. And that is why we ended up quarantined starting March 2020. And ever since then, every time I would come home, I would always wash my hands whenever I'd come home. And I still do that to this day. Like even though COVID's not that big of a deal anymore, I still wash whenever I come home, I'd still wash my hands. I still do that to this day whenever I'd come home. And I believe most people don't really do that anymore after coming home. I don't know. I guess I'm just paranoid. But anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. This is Ronnie Zamora saying, see you later.